Ribbit. 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 How's it going, Sage? Welcome to the stream. Welcome back to Higurashi. Woo! We had a bit of a wild ride last time. How are you doing, Sage? Tap, tap, tap. The sound of muffled footsteps stopped in front of the door to my room. A moment of silence, as if whomever they belonged to was ascertaining if I was inside. Of all the things I should have been doing, I continued on with my restless slumber. I was very much conscious, but my body hadn't caught up yet, even with the danger bearing down on me from just beyond the door. It was as if I was completely paralyzed, unable to move. Oh yeah, those sleep paralysis demons are a bitch. Without a doubt, this was sheer terror. Please, just leave. Alright, ate some Little Caesars pizza. Ooh, yum, I love Little Caesars. I made some pizza earlier. Both of the pizzas from the Five Nights at Freddy's cookbook. That was pretty good. Hey, why isn't my body awake yet? If I came into my room right now, then... BAM! Ah! 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 I sprung to my feet and threw my covers at my mom, who was opening the door. Whoa! Keiichi! What's the matter? Sorry. I was still half asleep. I thought it was still 1 or 2 a.m. But the morning sun was already streaming through the gap between the curtains. First is a trainer card from Team Rocket. Ooh. It felt nothing like morning. I've had a couple of those days. It was like, I woke up one time at like... Let's see, at like 4 in the morning thinking that it was 7. And then I promptly went back to sleep. I'm like terrible at waking up in the mornings. Yesterday I must have fallen asleep right after that. Then I should have gotten a full 10 hours of rest. But it didn't feel like that at all. My internal clock was completely screwed up and my sense of balance fell off. I felt feverish enough that it was clear to me that I still was not well. Imposter Oak, in Revenge, discard a card from your hand. In order to play this card, your opponent shuffles his or her hand into her deck and draws 4. Oh my god. Imposter Oak? That actually sounds terrifying. Well, Keiichi, how are you feeling? Can you make it to school? I was well enough to go, but I wasn't mentally prepared for it. I was still plagued with the terror from yesterday. If I had swallowed that needle, what would have happened? Alric shows Imposter Oak in the dark background with an evil smirk on his face. Yep. I imagined it, and it sent chills down my spine. Or, what if it had pierced my tongue? It was undoubtedly a murderous intent, but I don't think that's all it was. If they really wanted to kill me, then there were other, more certain ways to do it. They wouldn't resort to such a dubious method as having me swallow a needle. Just put arsenic in there. The person won't know it's there. For legal reasons, I'm going to advise people not to do that. Meaning, I didn't want to believe it, but going that far was just a threat from Rena and Mion. Aren't you glad you didn't die? But next time, we'll use a more assured method. Like that. Something like sending a letter with a razor inside would have been a joke compared to this. Before I get to the next card, Imposter Oak was a character exclusive to the TCG first debut in the base, set in 1999. He would get 2 other cards. Oh. That's actually pretty interesting. Did you make it to the hospital? Did you take your medicine? Yeah, kinda. Something about my mom's dubious gaze bothered me. She seemed more concerned about her son missing 2 days of school rather than him being sick. It was definitely mental fatigue. I wasn't really physically ill. It'll be hard for you to get back on track once your daily routine is thrown off. Come on, get up. Get on up. They say wellness is a state of the mind. I'd heard that line many times before. I was given an award in elementary school for having perfect attendance, but it wasn't like I was healthier than everyone. He's like Professor Oak, but with a grin and have a stitch scar on his forehead. Damn. That actually sounds badass. Back in like the early 2000s when they were making like evil versions of characters, I thought that like evil equals cooler versions of our favorite characters. I think a lot of people thought that. It's kind of funny. I guess that's why Shadow the Hedgehog got so popular, because he was like an evil version of Sonic. Come on, go wash your face. Breakfast is already ready. There isn't much time before Rena-chan comes and gets you. Mom's told me I couldn't argue about it, so I had to give up on skipping a second day. Dang, she is pushy. By the way, were you the one who got bean paste all over the living room wall, Keiichi? You shouldn't do something like that. Your father was quite angry. I didn't feel particularly guilty for doing it, so I didn't have much of a reaction. Also, Mom didn't question me further about it. She headed back downstairs after she was certain I was getting up. What Mion said as she left yesterday? I'd hate it if he missed school tomorrow. Came back and dwelled in the back of my mind. What did she mean by that? I didn't even have to really think about it. She was saying, don't be absent. Despite appearing in the TCG, appears in other media. James disguised as Oak in Gold and Silver episode, Will the Real Oak Please Stand Up? And Diamond and Pearl episode of Fox Oak Finish. Fall. Is it Fox or no? It's not Fox. It's faux. Like faux fur. Hi Flash, how's it going? Welcome to the stream. Taking that a bit further, it was the same as saying I should just go about living my life as if nothing happened. Oh yeah, there was something that happened at work the other day. I was gonna talk about it. Oh yeah. This is like a really weird feeling. I never had like overstimulation from touch before, so it kind of freaked me out. Good, how about you? I'm doing alright. I don't know how many retail chains are doing this, but like we have to. He appeared in Pokemon manga. Ooh. Keiichi get caught yapping about old men again. Yeah. Nah. Yeah. Basically, he got threatened by his besties. Work chat? Mm-hmm. I don't know how many places are doing it, but we have to like dot. We have to dot things with prices on them because prices are going up. So we had a box of these socks, and a bunch of them were like these soft fuzzy socks. I do like those socks. I have a pair of them. I have a pair of them, but like, it's weird after touching them for so long. My fingers started to get like a weird sensation in them, and it started freaking me out. And it was getting like so bad that I was starting to freak out about the ones on my feet as well. I powered through it though and conquered Sock Mountain, but like, yeah, that was something I don't want to experience again. It was so weird because I never had a problem with like touching them before. Your hands were becoming buzz sensitive. That might have been it. It was really freaking me out though. Even though he never appeared in the games, in the beta version of Soul Silver, there was a room with Imposter Oak. Oh dang! Congrats on conquering Sock Mountain. Thank you. Alright, let's get back to it. Taking that a bit further, it was the same as her saying that I should just go about living my life as if nothing happened. If I showed any signs of acting unusual, it would probably result in them making their move. For example, maybe I shouldn't pay attention to someone like Oishi-san enticing me with something unusual. Meaning, if I didn't watch my mouth, or did anything differently from the norm, in effect, it would end up flagging myself as someone who is not wanted. Making it unknown what he would use, but in the artwork for Imposter Oak's Revenge, he had coughing Gengar. Those are likely what he would have used in the game. That sounds about right. I think I want to go a step further with it and add a third, just as a theory, but like, Gary's Eevee evolves into an Umbreon, right? So I think Imposter Oak would have an Eevee that evolves into an Espeon. Or he would have a Pokemon that would be that would be a type advantage to Umbreon. Just a little. That's just my theory though. It would make sense thematically. And it seems that was something that the girls didn't intend to forgive. So if I just went along as normal, no harm would come to me. Was that how it was going to be? All that misery I experienced up until yesterday would almost creepily just fade away. It was an enticing deal. Just by forgetting everything I'd seen or heard these last few days, I'd be able to keep living on like normal. There's no way such a selfish thing could. I swallowed hard. Once again, I deliberated on the idea that I had just rejected. Interesting theory. Bayon was probably a good person who had her friends at heart. She was giving me, who had mistakenly broken some rules of theirs, a chance. Was what I did really something so unforgivable? But Bayon had given me another chance. She was saying if I just forgot everything and kept living on like I had been, I'd be forgiven. From X-Holland Phantoms, Core Fish, Water type with 50 HP. Keiichi, your food is going to get cold. Hurry up and get down here. Rena will be here if you don't hurry. I'm coming. I crammed my textbooks into my bag and hastily made my way downstairs. I picked up my somewhat bland breakfast. Seeing I didn't have much time, it was already past when I usually met up with Rena. Given yesterday's events, she'd probably be here in the next 5 minutes. Corkscrew Punch does basic 10 damage with 1 basic energy. Guillotine does 30 damage with 3 basic energy. Oh, that sounds badass. Eric shows Corefish walking in a small blushy pond of water. Bluishly. Yeah, probably bluishy. I needed to be ready to head to school by then. I had to forget everything that happened in the past 2 days. Forget it all and return to my normal life. For this to be normal, I have to be where I normally meet up with Rena. Today of all days, the race was dry and hard to get down. She's here! I jumped at the sound and dropped my chopsticks. That chime signaled that Rena had arrived. Mom hurried me along. Come on. Rena-chan's already here. Hurry. My mother's merry smile and my gloomy face were polar opposites. Honestly, I was reluctant to see Rena, who's waiting there on the other side of the door. The Rena on the other side? Was it the Rena I knew? Keiichi's trying to do the impossible. Oh yeah. This is not good for his mental health. Here comes Rena the really devious. I couldn't keep her waiting. I needed to do things as usual. Morning! An invigorating greeting filtered in from across the doorway. I came since Keiichi-kun was a bit late. Will he be okay today? I wonder. The manner in which Rena was concerned was, without a doubt, the Rena I knew. Next is a supporter card from Rising Rivals. But that was probably only if I reciprocated. Forget everything from yesterday. Pretend as though nothing had happened. Forget about the gruesome dismemberment. Forget about the mysterious death that happened the following years. Forget about the people falling to their death and the terminal illness and the lynching and the disappearances. Forget it. Forget all of it. Lies! It is a trap. Forget that Rena and Mion are scary. Were scary. Of course, forget it all. Forget about everyone. Forget about the mochi too. Should go Mrs. Hyde on you. Absolutely. Bebe search. Choose a card from your hand and put it on top of your deck. Search your deck for a Pokemon and show it to your opponent. Put it in your hand and shuffle your deck afterwards. Ooh, nice. Forget. This is the only card in your hand, you can't play it. Ah, I see. Rena once again asked to make sure. Can you make it to school? Yeah, I'm fine. Great. Then, let's go. Mi-chan is waiting. Rena showed me her usual bright smile. I couldn't find any hint of deceit in her expression. My nervousness dissipated, giving way to relief. But, you see, Satoko-chan was so insistent that she could do it. As we were walking, Rena talked about a lot about different stuff. More so than usual. Then... Satoko-chan is so clumsy, so she failed no matter how many times she tried. Oh, how she was so cute. Everything Rena talked about was just silly nonsense, so I replied every so often and laughed from time to time. This was a rather laid-back conversation. Foolish Keiichi, letting your guard down. He's probably, like, trying to keep her at arm's length after everything that happened. We passed by one of our neighbors and they called out to us. Oh my, Keiichi-chan and Rena-chan, aren't you two a bit late today? Mion-chan said she was going on ahead. Uh-oh. Did Mi-chan look mad, I wonder? We need to hurry up, Keiichi-kun. As we smiled and parted ways with our neighbor, they turned back towards me and stuck out a tongue. Not expecting that, but I couldn't help but crack a smile. That was weird. My work shows Bebe sitting down, typing on her laptop, with Glameow resting on a box. Aww. Keiichi-kun smiled. Huh? What? Rena stopped and stared at me. I was thinking that you still haven't recovered from your cold since you seemed down this morning, Keiichi-kun. But now you seem fine. Fine. With a grin, she gently poked my cheek. It was a bright, sincere smile. Hey, Keiichi Maibara. How can you still doubt Rena after she shows you a smile like that? Maybe I just had a high fever up until today, and I imagined everything that I thought happened because I was bedridden and delirious. I really hope that was the case. If God would grant me just one wish, there's only one thing that I would wish for. I would want what happened in the past few days, or specifically from the night of the one to Higurashi up until last night. I wanted all of that to have never happened. You better stay fine, got it? I wonder how many times I'd wish for these past few days. As long as Rena kept on smiling like this, I think it might just become a reality. So I wanted Rena to keep on smiling. Keep on smiling. It's okay, chicken. Those mochi yesterday. Did you eat them all? That vain wish of mine was instantly shattered. My heart began palpitating. The relaxed morning mood suddenly became frigid. Rena's smile was the same as usual. Her eyes were gentle as usual. Those mochi yesterday. Did you eat them all? Of course, she wasn't asking the question at face value. In other words, Rena was asking, did you get the message? She was probably trying to convey that. Okay, chicken? I was reluctant to give her an answer. Rena stopped walking and stared deeply into my eyes. Did you enjoy that mochi? You'd better have. I made it for you! Don't hesitate, Keiichi Maibara. Rena was acting the same as always, wasn't she? I needed to respond in my usual way. Naturally, of course. From Platinum Arceus Cherim Force cast form. Grass type with 80 HP. Aww. But both my throat and mouth had gone dry, and my lips were stuck together. Hurry and answer, Keiichi. Not that much time had passed. I could still keep the conversation going naturally. I had to say something quickly. Rena playfully mimicked what I said when I finally squeaked something out. Morrissey's did 30 damage with both 1 grass and 1 basic energy. Flip a coin if heads, the defending Pokemon is now confused. Rena's reaction was still normal. It seemed that there wasn't a long pause as I had thought. Somehow I finally squeaked out the rest. Delicious! However, my strained efforts neither sullied nor brightened Rena's expression. For a moment I panicked, thinking I had replied incorrectly. But after a few moments, Rena broke into her usual soft smile and giggled with a joyful voice that seemed to echo throughout the morning air. She's doing the Luna from Boondock's wide-eyed stare. Pokebody, cloudy sky. If any of your grass Pokemon or fire Pokemon would be damaged by an attack, reduce that damage by 10. Oh, okay. Being strung along by that laugh, I couldn't help but laugh as well. I see. So, did you eat all of them, I wonder? My timid smile froze again. Did you make it without swallowing the sewing needle? Or the mochi was dry. My soup is cold and my salad is warm. How is that possible? Now it shows Cherim by a lake in a mountain area. Aw, cute. Was that what she was asking? If I'd swallowed it, then I wouldn't be here. Nah, I couldn't finish all of them. There's still some left. I was scared out of my wits, but that's how I played it. Huh? What about the homework to see if you could tell which one Rena made? The homework was it due today? Yeah, it's due today. Michan will get angry. There's probably a penalty game ready for you. We both laughed at each other again. To a casual observer, this was just a typical morning. If I could just let myself believe, then I'd think it was just a usual morning routine. But I was certain I wasn't mistaken. There was something unimaginable buried beneath the facade of this giggling Rena. From XY Primal Clash, Swampert, water type with 150 HP. Oh, I love Swampert. Smart, Keiichi. Smart. Lies. I recalled that unexpected, piercing voice that I could hardly believe came from Rena's mouth. The moment that image crossed my mind, I felt a cold sweat trickle down my back. Was it only at that particular time that something evil had possessed Rena? No, that was wrong. That was still Rena. I wish he had told me, didn't he? Actually, I looked into her before. Before Ryugu-san moved away to Hinamizawa, she was suspended from school. Seems she went through her school building and broke all the windows. Water Arrow was 1 water energy and 2 basic. So attack does 60 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. Waterfall does basic 120 damage with 2 water energy and 2 basic energy. Awesome. Rena had a disorder that normal people didn't. No matter how pleasantly she smiled, that fact would not change. But I couldn't even imagine how she looked as she broke all the glass throughout the school. One thing I knew was that it wasn't something spur of the moment. It was if it was some sudden outburst of anger, then she'd break a pane or two. But she broke all the windows all throughout her school. Just imagine going through your own school and breaking the windows with a bat. Swinging full force at each pane of glass, one after another, paying no heed to the flying shards. Your classmates aghast, unable to move from the sudden turn of events. I wonder where she could have found the most windows lined up in a row. Probably the hallway. Eric shows Swampert splashing out of the water on the beach. Aww. It was difficult for me to connect that horrifying image with the Rena smiling at me right now. But I just had to imagine it. Impossible because it was unimaginable. That naive way of thinking no longer worked. The unpleasant piercing sound of shattered glass, the crunching noise as Rena treaded across the broken shards, walking towards me. Rena's classmates going pale as they forget to even breathe. I wondered what they did as Rena came closer, breaking windows along her path. Did they earnestly try to bring her to her senses by saying something? Or did they jump at her, trying to stop her savagery? Or did they run to the staff room after being directed there by the teachers? Probably none of those. In the face of that blood-curdling sight of Rena busting window after window, undoubtedly, all they could do was silently clear a path for her. Not to the cards that appear in the booster pack. Imposter Oak's Revenge. Ooh. Dumbfounded? Just clearing the path for Brenna to continue. It was far too violent an act for them to seek refuge by looking some other way. That's not to say they were looking the other way. They were doing the only thing they could do to protect themselves. They had done something differently from the rest. They may have suddenly found themselves as Rena's new target. What would Rena have done to whoever attracted her attention? The answer was obvious. She would have undoubtedly acted according to her whims. Meaning, I would be the next window. Rena staring into my eyes, shards of glass crunching and cracking underfoot as she drew closer. I was also drawn into her eyes, paralyzed. Then Rena struck me with a bat over and over again, like I was one of those windows. I crouched down to the floor, desperately protecting my head. Rena didn't care whether it was my head or my back. Zealously, she hits me again and again. What kind of expression was she making as she was doing this over and over again? I peered up to see. Her expression was so indifferent. It was completely unnerving. Is it because no matter how many times she struck me, it didn't make as pleasant as a sound as the other windows? She struck me continuously, over and over again. Emporian, Dark War Turtle, Dark Wheezing, Dark Magic Pot Carp. Arc for Devastation, Giovanni with his usual smirk. Oh, nice. Those effects sound like Street Fighter punches. They kinda do. The sound Rena wanted didn't come out. Our classmates standing around didn't try to stop her. They didn't want to be the next window. Somebody save me. Turning a blind eye unless we're hanging out. But of course, everyone in class scrambled to obtain the highest standardized test scores. They gained nothing from saving a cram school tryhard like me. Eventually, there would be a faint sound similar to when you crack open a walnut. Some sort of reddish-black spray would shoot out. Anyway, wasn't that Rena momentarily lost herself in her anger? After forcing myself to breathe, calming down my heart, I recalled what Olushi-san said to me. And in the counselor's medical reports, he recorded all of the conversations he had with Rena-san. It shows up. And quite a bit at that. What does... She mentioned the word Oyashiro-sama. Corphish will exist in the X-Holon Phantom starter deck. Flood Rush, Water Psychic. Main aces being Delta species, Bellofton, Zangoose, and Delta species Latios. Ooh. Following that, Rena was suspended and had regular examinations at the hospital. Then, as Rena was undergoing counseling, she said it over and over. Oyashiro-sama, Seems that the Yashiro-sama she spoke of was like a ghost appearing in her house every night, standing over her pillow, looking down at her. That was the only piece of their conversation, so I couldn't see the big picture. But it was by no means a happy little conversation. Then, what Rena did, was she saying that ghastly incident was the result of her being possessed by Oyashiro-sama? Up until now, I didn't want to believe in Oyashiro-sama's curse. That's why I wanted to say the mysterious deaths every year would happen because of some sort of conspiracy. Every time I talked with Oishi-san, I was more certain that the deaths were the work of men and not some curse. Except, if those people perpetrating the incidents, my friends were somehow deeply connected. If I refused to believe that the curse was real, then I would have to believe that those who acted the kindest to me were deeply involved in the incidents. Why? How? For what reason? Was Rena? Was everybody? It was much more painful and troublesome than accepting that it was just Oyashiro-sama's curse. In the afternoon, Rena had admitted to her doctor that it was because she was possessed by Oyashiro-sama. Felt a strange sense of relief from that. So that's how it was. There wasn't a second side to Rena. She did that because she was possessed by something strange like Oyashiro-sama. He's jumping through mental hoops now. It wasn't Rena's fault. Oyashiro-sama was the one to blame. I knew. This was all backwards. Refusing to believe there was a curse, I wanted there to be a human perpetrator. Now that my close friends were the ones under suspicion, changed my beliefs to them at my own convenience, saying it was Oyashiro-sama's curse to blame. Which was the better choice? Accepting that Oyashiro-sama's curse exists? Or that Rena and the rest of them were deeply involved in a string of mysterious deaths? I didn't want to think about it. If I just didn't think about it, I'd be able to continue the same as I always had, same as always. I wanted to believe that. Goddamn, I'm sleepy. Bebe's search would appear in 3 starter decks. First with Rising Rivals, Drill Point. Oh, okay. But that was no longer possible. I had received her message. It was pathetic of me to try to bend the meaning to my own convenience. Regardless of my opponent being a human or curse, I won't let it kill me. As if I would just bend over and give in, for no good reason at all. Dang, he was monologuing in his own head that whole time. Now they made it to school. Keiichi-kun? You've been making a really weird face. The artwork on the starter deck box, Bertha's Rhyperior, battling in a stadium with something shooting slashes at it. Oh, okay. That sounds badass. Why, I wonder. Inhaling sharply upon hearing Rena's voice, I came back to my senses. Before I realized it, we were already at the entrance. Shaking my head a few times, I Besides all those terrifying thoughts. No matter how you looked at it, there's no way Rena could have done such terrible things. It was like I was trying to placate myself. Boing! Oh my god, I'm so sleepy. As I slid the door open, a blackboard eraser loaded with chalk dropped down on my head the moment I stepped into the classroom. The chalk dust went in my eyes, inducing a brief moment of agony. How befitting for the truant Kate, she said. Good morning to both of you, Keiichi and Rena. Good morning, Satoko-chan, Rika-chan. Not quite in the mood for it, I didn't really react to Satoko's trap. Satoko braced herself as I passed by, expecting me to attack her. She seemed a bit disappointed as I simply walked by silently. What is this? How discouraging indeed. Keiichi doesn't seem to be yet back to his usual self. Yeah. Take it easy on him for today, okay? Second set would be Platinum Supreme Victor Starter Deck. Ah. Suddenly there was a slap on my shoulder. It hurt a bit. Hey, Kid-chan. Did you get enough rest? It was Mion. My mind was full of the stuff about Rena, but Mion was also a party of interest. Remember Keiichi? That hawkish gaze from yesterday. Yeah. Morning. What's with the energetic greeting? Did you eat the mochi I brought you? Because I ate them, I'm like this. Starter deck box artwork shows Cyrus Arcanine with burning aura. Ooh. Okay, that actually sounds pretty cool. Those words were itching to be blurted out. I really just didn't have the appetite. I ate a few, but quite a lot were left over. Huh? What about the homework? Did you have an answer for which one was Rena's? Can't believe you'd forget your homework, Keiichi-kan. Sheesh. Then we can't help it. Time for your penalty. Flashing a lurid smile, Mion returned to her seat. There was nothing from our exchange that would cause our classmates to suspect anything was amiss. But of course, anyone listening to our conversation up until this morning wouldn't see anything suspicious. That's why... Oh, excuse me. That was why it was so frightening. They acted in a way that, regardless of whatever happened to Keiichi Maibara, no one would ever suspect them. That fact had me terrified. Soon the teacher came. After she asked how I felt and took attendance, another dull, ordinary day began. Both Baby Search along with Charon forecast form would appear in the Platinum Arceus starter set. Oh, okay. This pre-study period was a convenient time to consider where I stood. Septile, Tangrowth, and Arceus fire form. Ooh. I gently closed my eyes and pondered the ridiculous position I was in right now. First of all, what I shouldn't forget was how dangerous of a situation I was in. I had fallen out of favor with them. After interacting with Oishi-san multiple times, I could see I was getting closer to the heart of the matter. The warning yesterday with the mochi was a good indicator of that. No, calling it a warning was just my habit of understanding things. It probably had no meaning beyond stunting my progress and buying themselves some time. Until they had a method of completely erasing me, they were just biding their time. Even though they were keeping me under their thumb with threats, it didn't change the fact that I knew too much. The chilling sensation up my desk made me recall Satoshi Hojo, the guy who was using this seat until last year when he disappeared. Was he also similar to me? Did he learn something he shouldn't have and was erased? Starter deck box artwork shows Arceus fire in a burning fire background. Nice. Damn. I wouldn't let them get rid of me so easily. Never. But were they really trying to kill me? I've had these contradictory feelings for a while now. Even though I suspected them, I felt I had to cover for them. With all their suspicious behavior and a morning like this just made it all seem like an elaborate hoax. No, that's just what I wanted to believe. Doubting my friends, covering for them, my life was in danger? Or was it? Actually, I was debating the wrong point. Given my current situation, those points were something that should have been deliberated a long time ago. But really, Rena and the rest of them, were they actually aiming to kill me? The little voice inside me continued to torment me through these unresolvable trains of thought. Are you an idiot, Keiichi Maibara? The answer should be obvious. But maybe that sewing needle might have just been an accident, right? Not much cards? Oh, that's okay. How could you screw up and drop a sewing needle into a piece of mochi? The benefit of the doubt can only go so far. And when you're dead, they have better ways. They sure do. Plus, there's that bottomless swamp, so they could easily hide the body. Both Rena and Mion had acted and behaved suspiciously, but maybe it was all some sort of misunderstanding. What kind of misunderstanding? It wasn't just suspicious, it was outright ludicrous, right? Rena was just concerned for me for lying, and Mion only asked me about what I had for lunch. Rena was standing outside our door, eavesdropping for a good hour, you know. She was probably just waiting for my phone call to end. For a whole hour outside your room? Is it normal to go home afterwards without saying anything? You heard from Oishi-san, didn't you? About what Rena did at her former school? But at the hospital, she said it was like Yashiro someone's fault. She... Cut it out, Keiichi Maibara. Don't you realize they're out to kill you? I inadvertently blurted out those words. Hearing myself say that so directly left me dumbfounded for a few moments. Afterwards, I had to look around and check and look around to check if anyone else had heard it. My little kitty cut a little too close to the truth. Even though I could feel the murderous intent from Ren and the others, part of me somewhere was still trying to deny that. This late in the game, such hesitation could be fatal. I knew that. But I was just your average student, a man living his normal, ordinary life. You think I could suddenly believe that my friends who had been happily laughing, who I had been happily laughing together with up until last Sunday, now intended to kill me? Right? Too soft, Keiichi. This time I remembered to keep my voice down so only I can hear it. There was only one thing I now understood. Can the flow of the self-denial interesting? I was too soft. I didn't completely understand how dangerous Rena and the rest of them were. No, I wasn't trying to understand. I was too soft for not listening to Alicia-san when he was earnestly showing me the heart of the matter. I didn't listen because I was too busy pretending to be dejected. I didn't comprehend it. I was just running away. I didn't comprehend it, so nobody had any notion to try and kill me. I needed to get rid of such naive thoughts. As I made that resolution, I heard the bell signaling the end of class. So soon. The day was already over. I didn't recall eating lunch or doing anything in class. Got some free stuff from the swap meet, like a toy Rubicon Jeep. Oh, nice. My friends were putting their desks together in preparation for club activities. Not long ago, I probably would have happily jumped into that circle. My Keiichi-san. How rude of you to even think about leaving. The way Satoko spoke was so typical and familiar. It almost physically hurt. Huh? Keiichi-kun, is today not a good day, I wonder? And if we're going to win big together... and we were going to win big together... One was Invincible Iron Man, the other was Spider-Man. Oh, nice. Seeing Rena's expression, which said she was really looking forward to the day, was hard to take. Hey, Keiichi. Maybe Oishi-san was just some enormous jerk trying to separate me from the others by lying to me. Trying to expunge the weak-minded thinking, I slapped myself in the face. Got the imposter oak revenge free since it was warped and damaged. Oh, dang. Well, at least it was free. Keiichi-kun. Yeah. Was Rena really trying to kill me? I wish someone would tell me it was a hoax. I didn't care if it actually was one or not. I just wanted someone to say it was. Yet another weak-willed thought. How did I ever become this naive? Are you alright? Does your head hurt? Apparently that was how my inner dilemma appeared to Rena. You're pale. Can you make it home by yourself? Maybe I should accompany you home, I wonder. No, it's okay. Sorry. I can get home by myself. Just have the meeting without me. Upon hearing that I wasn't going to participate in the club meeting, Mian nodded unhappily. Since Kei-chan was so bent on a revenge match, we were even going to play that deduction game from before too. Like Chairman forecast form, got for free, got Swampert during a trade. Ooh, cool. Keiichi-san doesn't have the burning desire for a rematch. How pathetic. I wouldn't fall for some dumb taunt. Without even a real retort, I just grabbed my bag and was about to get up. Someone's hands perched itself lightly on my head. Keiichi doesn't seem to be well. How very unfortunate. It was Rika-chan. She was stretched up as far as she could, doing her best to pat my head with her petite hand. It felt so nice, which made things even harder. Sorry, everybody. See you. So I said as I quickly left the classroom. They said something to me as I was leaving, but I couldn't make it out. Ooh, one of the Choose Your Own Adventure books. Book 19, Escape from Camp Run for Your Life. Ooh. I managed to make it all the way to the entrance, in that state of mind. Took out my shoes, put them on, went forward. Harden that heart, Keiichi Maibara. They were, for some unfathomable reason, trying to kill me. They were plotting something dubious, watching my every move. But I couldn't hate them. Because weren't they my friends? Part of me lamented my naivety, while another part lamented the fact that I lost something important by lamenting over it in the first place. Felt like my consciousness was being ripped out of my body. This is what Yashiro-sama's curse was like. That was just too harsh. Hey, Yashiro-sama. Was I wrong for not believing in your curse? But I believe in it now. Completely. Your curse does exist. So seriously, give me a break. I beg of you. Come on. Eric shows 3 campers riding faces. Wow. Dinner was unusually bland. It had no flavor or aroma. Miso soup that normally tantalizes my appetite instead tasted like nothing but boiled water. Dad was eating with us that night. It was a rare occurrence in this household. When he got into his work, he ate and slept on his own schedule. My dad never cared about the time. Since my dad was at the dinner table, it either meant he just reached a good point to take a break or he was in a slump. So yeah, he just doesn't understand the motivation creators have. Your partnership was just a verbal agreement, wasn't it? If it's so hard to agree on things, why not just end it? I feel like it's an industry with a lot of back scratching. But when it gets in the way of business, I wasn't able to pick out much of my mom and dad's conversation, but I could tell it wasn't a very pleasant topic. That, of course, made the disgusting food even less appealing. Staring listlessly at the exchange between my parents, my mind wandered off to the same thought process I had going all day long. It's a zombie camp like Choose Your Own Adventure books. Nice. Friends close to me. No, they used to be friends. But I could no longer trust them. Right now, I was greatly lacking in allies. People I trusted, people I could depend on when push came to shove. There was something I just didn't have. Having just one ally would have been incredibly reassuring in the currently hopeless situation I was in. Put down my chopsticks, looked over at my parents who were still talking about work. The first course of action that came to mind was to tell my parents everything. Currently, there wasn't a single person in Higurashi I could trust 100%. That meant the only people I could trust were my parents. What if I told them everything that happened up until now? Would they understand? Rena, for example. The neighborly Rena who was so diligent in looking after me, came to get me every day, sometimes brought over a share of what she made. How could I explain that she wanted to kill me? No matter how I explained it, it would probably be difficult for anybody to comprehend. My somewhat eccentric dad wouldn't understand, and my high-strung mom would probably drag me off to a psychiatrist in the blink of an eye. Sadly, it was the amount of trust that existed in our relationship. Even if they did come to understand, what could they possibly do? Unless they could uncover the truth, they wouldn't be able to protect me. No, by informing them of these unnecessary things, I'd be putting my parents in danger as well. Considering that the victims of the past incidents were often married couples, I couldn't even joke about it. For the entire Maibara family to have an accident or to just vanish into thin air, it was easily possible in Higurashi. What was important here was that knowing something unnecessary could put you in danger. The most unsettling question is, how did they know that I knew? As long as they didn't know, my parents might not fall victim. That was one way to think about it, I guess. At least it was like that in my case. After I found out, things started becoming odd. In other words, it meant the following. As long as my parents didn't know anything, nothing would happen to them. As long as my parents were here in this house, as long as my parents were here, this house would be a safe haven for them. I knew these were just assumptions based on conjecture on top of conjecture. Wanting this house to be a safe haven, that was the pinnacle of my weak-willed method of thinking. I had to concede that it was not completely safe. It was only safer than the outside. I knew that I couldn't rely on my parents. No, I couldn't risk getting my parents involved. Then the only person who would be my ally would be Oishi-san. Him and him alone. He was the only person who understood the situation I was in. He didn't care much about my safety, but he was without a doubt passionate about solving this case. Ooh, man, I've been reading a lot. Holy shit. It was a bit frustrating. What Ishi-san was basically the whole reason I was in this mess. Now to get out of it, I had to rely on him. Meaning, it was all going according to his devices. It was just my job to look appetizing while bobbing in the waves as bait. Then, when the fish started gathering around, Oishi-san would pull up the big haul. The fishing analogy is like really interesting. It was slightly infuriating, but even I thought that was the best course of action. So, what should I do? Patience was the first rule of fishing. Just keep waiting until the fish actually bites. But I wasn't simply bait. Oh, hang on. Headphones fell off a little bit. There were lots of ways for me to struggle before being devoured. When they struck, I needed to somehow dodge just enough and tag out to Oishi. Keiichi caught on good for him. No questions. It was going to be hard. No question it was going to be hard. The timing to bring Oishi-san in would be difficult. It was in the city, not Hinamizawa. So if I phoned him in my moment of need, it would take him about 30 minutes to reach me. So I needed to run away for those 30 minutes. For example, if we set up a rendezvous point for dying situations or something, I just have to hide out there until Oishi-san arrived. Okay, I can almost see it now. I was still being chased around in the dark by Boogeyman, but now I knew which way to go. I would never have imagined this would be so reassuring. Oh yeah, probably would be best if I had a concealed weapon for when things got rough. Typically, that would call for a switchblade, but that wasn't too reassuring for combat. Also, since it was recognized as a weapon by the public, that also wasn't good. That again relies on trust. I'll be right back. I'm gonna go get some real quick. Alright. Really, when the time comes, a long weapon like a bat would work in my favor. I remember there was a metal bat at school. I could be confident with that when push came to shove. If I pretended I was practicing my swing, then it wouldn't be suspicious for me to always carry it around. I could go to school early tomorrow and secure it. Just possessing a weapon may be enough to deter them. Also, one more thing, insurance. It could be something like a note or a memo. You can write down everything that's happened as a sort of journal. In case I suddenly vanished, the journal would be left behind. With my journal in his possession, Wishi-san would be able to avenge my death. I left my parents engrossed in their conversation about work and went back to my room. Alright, here we go. I tore a piece of paper from my notebook and made my way to my desk. Last time I wrote a journal was for summer homework in elementary school. In the off chance something bad happened, the police could use my diary as a lead. Welcome back, thank you. So I should only write down the facts. How should I start? I jotted down my thoughts as they came. I, Keiichi Maribara, am in fear for my life. Made me laugh nervously. It was the line that showed up often in detective stories. I've never even dreamed that I would be in this type of situation where I'd write it myself. I do not know why they were after my life. I knew the others were suspicious, but I had no proof. And that's why I couldn't write anything more. I laughed wryly at myself for writing such a passage draped in mystery. Would the police be able to get the hint from reading this enigmatic passage? I can only pray that they would. What I prayed for most, though, was that this journal never needed to play its part. Here I laughed nervously. It was too simple, so I wrote down one more line I just thought of. The only thing I do know that has to do with Oyashiro-sama's curse. Was that too much? I probably shouldn't write more than that. If I wrote any more, then it would seem like I was just delusional. In order to appear to the reader that the person who had written this was of sound mind, I chose not to write anything else at that point. I just needed to add more as I learned more about the truth. I folded the paper and thought about a place to hide it. By hiding it somewhere obvious, there was a chance that they would uncover it instead. On the other hand, if it was in too obscure of a location, then there was a risk that nobody finding it at all. In the end, I decided to take the clock off my wall and stick my folded note on the back of it with Scotch tape. After that, I put the clock back into its normal position. Yeah, it didn't look like anything was hidden behind it. Now I need to set it up, such as that if anything happens to me, my parents could find it. I looked from countless different angles until I was satisfied and made my way downstairs. My parents were still talking about work. It didn't look like it was going to end anytime soon, so I cut in. Sorry to interrupt. I have something I want to talk to you about. I've never started off a conversation like that before, so my parents were both startled. They stopped talking and turned towards me. What is it, Keiichi? I have a favor to ask of you. Please listen. Just in case, yeah? If it's not urgent, can we just do this later? Right now, Mommy and Daddy have something urgent they're talking about. I didn't think that their talk was more urgent than mine. In any case, I stated my request. Just in case, okay? If I die, both my parents' eyes went as wide as saucers. If I die, I want you to put the clock on my wall in my coffin. If they did that, they'd probably find it. My memoir. Both my parents remained wide-eyed, not moving an inch. I couldn't blame them. I made that clock in shop class, and I really like it. So, please. What's the matter? Keiichi, did something happen? Mom was finally able to ask me with a questioning gaze. Of course, this was a normal response for when someone's son suddenly talked about a subject like this. Yikes, major yikes. Felt bad about making them worry, but right now I just wanted them to think about the clock in my room. Yeah. The awkward mood leaving the room in silence, I decided to go back up to my room. I want to get to school early tomorrow, so I'm going to bed. Good night. Saying only that, I left the living room. I needed to get to school early tomorrow and secure that bat. I should make today the last day I went to school with Rena. As I climbed the stairs, I heard my mom call my name, but I pretended not to hear her. It wasn't something I could talk about with my parents. If I talked about it, it would only make things more dangerous. The fight that had begun was mine and mine alone. I couldn't rely on anyone, buddy. I wouldn't be killed. Not when I still knew nothing. Ugh, suddenly felt nauseous. Alright, we have one new tip. Ribbit. Alright, let's take a look here. Keiichi's been feeling down lately. Maybe he's in a bad mood. I wonder. Maybe he's on his period. Me-chan, that's gross. What do you think? Don't know. Could be that Kei-chan maybe, I don't know. That day, Kei-chan was in that car talking to some tubby middle-aged guy, right? Oh wait, this is me on talking. Sorry. Yeah, no mistake. That Oishi. He probably fed him something fishy. He was so serious. Keiichi-kun's face was so pale. You see, you might not know this, but he's actually the messenger of Oyashio-sama. Huh? What do you mean? Whenever he shows up, someone is demoned away. No lie. Oh? Is that so? The year before last, when Rika-chan's mom drowned, right? Maybe before that, right before that, she was visited by Oishi. Now that you mentioned it, it happened before Satoshi-kun transferred out. Transferred? You're so sweet, Rena. So, this time he's appeared before Keiichi-kun. So, Keiichi-kun's going to be deemed away too? An empty silence hung in the air. And then it was suddenly interrupted by loud laughter. Sure, that's not ominous at all. Why were they laughing? Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and end it here. So, thank you for joining, and thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe if y'all want to, and I'll see you next time. Bye!